And I randomly cut it off at 4 minutes this time. Welcome, everybody. It is WooWoo Wednesday on a Thor'sDay. Julia, Hans, Shem, Liminal, good day.
What's going on?
Happy to
Thanks
be
again
here.
for having us all. Yeah.
Always a pleasure. Shout out to the chat. So Marshall, I can send you a link too if you want to join her.
Solar.
Pretty big. Well, we'll have to do another one on the UFOs as well very soon and get that one worked out. But for today, Sintamani Stone as well as Bohemian Grove on the agenda.
Yeah, dude, that's literally how I spent my Valentine's Day, which is like a little pathetic and embarrassing, but awesome. Like, hey, man, I'm watching this guy sneak into Bohemian Grove and literally urinate on the owl. Like, what is the world coming to? But it's like symbolic. It's symbolic and it's interesting, kind of like the shift in consciousness and the shift in power, and people like, I've had enough, and it kind of takes away the enigma,
right?
Yeah, of like, wait a second, people are putting the power back in their hand, and this, this this revolt,
pissed off enough to go piss on Bohemian Grove.
And while he was in it, like, you could tell too, like at one point, because I'm like, gosh, this guy's fearless. He's really fearless, and the way he was walking around, and he sees a guard passed out that had like a cat laying on him, like he was like in a bed in the shed. And then you're seeing that, because you imagine this place like, oh, they probably have like claymores around the place or landmines and tunnels, and your mind kind of goes there of like, the most powerful people in the world go there and they do crazy nefarious things. And then he's like walking around in it, and he's going into these different cabins and rummaging through stuff, and it's so creepy but interesting.
Yeah, that first video was amazing.
It was a cat. It was a. Oh God, I had the pun.
It wasn't during an event, obviously. Yeah, so interesting.
Catspiracy. There we go. It was a catspiracy.
Oh, and the owl too. You could actually go inside of it and like go upstairs. That was interesting as well.
It was an owl you could go inside of. So this is an official WOWL topic right here.
It is a WOWL.
You can't get more WOWL than pissing on the owl at Bohemian Grove and going inside the owl.
Who? Yeah, he goes up in it, and what did they do? Like the cremation of care.
Yeah, so they have this, it's like a metal skeleton that's about 4.5 feet long, and they'll wrap it with like paper mache. And so during one of their rituals, they do a mock child sacrifice, and they burn this effigy in front of the giant statue of Moloch. So, yeah.
He reads the name, like he reads a name that's on the bowl in front of it, and it was a name of, it was engraved to a high priest, and it says his name.
This is where they burn the fire in front of it. Yeah, I imagine
that dish thing.
What, you don't remember the name?
No, I do not.
Well, yeah, I mean, the owl represents basically the goddess, and they seem to be emulating the ritual of sacrifice, like the Semitic or Canaanite Phoenician ritual of sacrificing to the goddess or the queen of heaven, basically.
Yeah, and this also has it mirrors with Baal, which is, Baal is not a male or female deity, so it's like the androgyne in a sense. So Moloch and Baal kind of.
Yeah,
what it was interesting. I talked about this with Andreas and Gunwoo about like originally it was like a Buddha, like it was like the people from the Theosophical Society. Are you guys familiar with that information? Don't you hate it when you learn something and you don't fully absorb it?
What was originally the Buddha? The owl at the Bohemian Grove or something?
Yeah, like originally they would, instead of the owl, it was like a Buddha. And it was a lot of like people from the Theosophical Society. Like it was of course, you know, just like with everything, it starts out with great intentions and it's benevolent, and then everything gets infiltrated and completely
Isn't breaking and entering amazing? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was like just thinking, like, has this guy been arrested since? Like, he's literally going. Like,
well, that's what I was gonna say, because I think he was mentioned on Joe Rogan too, right? He was been mentioned on Joe Rogan, and that has his video has tons of.
Well, that's just when they're not doing it. So obviously they keep, you know.
He finds cigars, like there's cigars and some wine, and then he finds like they have pamphlets, and it's very Boy Scouty because they have like different like names for whoever stays in each cabin. So they'll have like almost like tribe names or camp names. And then they'll say, like, he found a pamphlet where it says all the people that was staying in that one. And he was reading it and he's like, this guy's 6'7". Like, why does it say it's height? Like, don't they know? If you're 6'7", like everyone's going to know you're 6'7". You got to put it in your bio.
Trial right there.
I'm guessing that they have lax security, you know, in winter when there's.
Well, I'm sure it's going to change after this.
It's totally raining, and then at one point, the guy, there's a security guard that comes up to him and with like a flashlight, and he just books it. He hightails it out of there, and then admits later on, you know, like, I was getting pretty ballsy with that flashlight. Like, look. Like, look how he's just straight. Like, oh yeah, there's no cameras. Like, wow. I get it's a lot of land. They bought a lot of the land and property in the surrounding areas, or like all around.
Well, like straight breaking and entering into these places. Like, it's
what the hell?
Or trying to, at least, right? Like, look at this. Wow.
I thought it was like a campground. This is pretty intense.
Well, I guess I would love to throw a, you know, non-satanic rave there. Maybe, you know, like,
how cool would that be to have like meetups at a spot like this on this much land and like have healing, like do some really like, hey guys, let's meet up and do solutions.
Small fortune just publicizing something like that and saying, hey,
oh my God, I think
Bohemian Grove is open for
there.
They
right?
would make so much money off of that. Oh my God.
Yeah. Right. Solar. I imagined like serious landmines around that place and all kinds of security and like lasers. Like, I would have thought the security would be top notch. Which shows too, a lot of this is fake, you know, like this owl is fake. It's a total set. You could go on the inside of it. Like, there's a lot of things that are flex to us, you know, it's like we're uncovering the veil. We're peeking behind the curtain. Like,
and it's at night. It honestly could be anywhere. We really don't know.
Yeah, but in their defense, they could be like, listen, we're already completely infiltrated to all the powers of the world. What are you going to do?
This is episode 2. Oh, he's in another cabin. Oh, stupid ads. I gotta get the ad blocker. What am I doing? Although that is true. This is a horrific genocide that needs to stop. Either way.
Oh, am I going to get like a strike for like having this being on?
No, because we have it on silent and the going and stuff.
Okay.
Again, we're talking over it. We're actually, you know, we're not just playing it. We're critiquing it and
I'm kind of saddened how many of my subscriptions.
Well, okay, look at that. So that's like a security area. Where's the owl part? Oh,
I think he's on it. Wait.
Can you turn on the captions just in case he says the name of the priest?
Yeah, do the closed caption.
That way we can get the name of the priest, possibly, Bernie.
Good call.
Closed caption, yeah. Bingo.
Okay.
I do have this. There you go.
Is it working?
No.
He might not be saying anything right now, though.
Oh, yeah. See, it is up now. There we go. Good call.
It'll show it by the like you'll see the bowl of the and where he
I'm
reads
tired
the
now.
priest
Now I
name.
gotta go urinate on the statue of Moloch. Ay, ay, ay.
Remember what a big deal it was that Alex Jones got in? But that was while it was
Right.
happening.
Yeah, that's a completely different story, though, right? That's like when he also didn't he get into Davos once too while it was on?
I think they were at Bilderberger. It wasn't Davos. It was a Bilderberger.
Bilderberg. Yeah, you're right. It was Bilderberg. Love him or hate him, you got to at least respect him for doing that. Bringing light to it.
I just looked up how big this place is, and it's over 4 square miles.
Jesus. Excuse
The
me.
land that they bought.
Wow.
So
What about the
it's
surrounding properties? Does it include
Yeah.
that? Like,
2,700 acres is what they bought for the Bohemian Grove.
wow.
It was founded in
We're-
1872.
We need to throw the
It's
love
like
rate
northeast of
into
San
it.
Francisco somewhere.
Yeah, it says it's called Monte Rio, California.
I should look up the, or if somebody wants to look up like what it was with the Theosophical Society and like Buddha.
Oh, before it became
Yeah.
interesting. Everything is somebody else's. Amazing.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about the Buddha.
Oh wait, I bet the keys are
I'm just
in the.
breaking into a security truck. You know, like, are you kidding me? Like this guy is definitely like. If they don't charge him, I think it's got to be a psyop.
The first one's been out for a
Right.
while, and like I said, it was mentioned on Joe Rogan, I'm pretty sure. So why aren't they pressing charges against this guy? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like that's super sus. But he actually goes up to the owl and goes in the owl, apparently.
In the first video, he goes in places too, and he goes inside
Is
the
it
owl.
the first one? Or
I haven't seen the full second
I'm on
one
the
yet. I just
second
saw the
one,
beginning
so
where
I
he
gotta
gets
go find
dropped off.
the first one.
No, go stay here because I think we're getting close to the part with the priest. I just want to see.
Oh yeah, it's close.
All right then.
Uh-huh.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
There it
the
is.
hell.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Oh my
Okay.
Wouldn't you feel like, oh my God, I'm about to get sniped?
Yeah,
Like standing right
Seriously,
there?
I would feel like I was about to get sniped for sure.
You got your
I feel like I'm
flashlight.
about to get like possessed or like abducted, not sniped.
Can you imagine if the darker entities were like, thanks, man. Like, we've been wanting to leave this place for a while. They're lame.
Well, that's what all those orbs are, right?
Yeah.
The first
Don't
time I
light
saw
the
this
candle.
video, it was shocking when he was looking across the water the first time he was here.
Wait, you see this? This is the big Buddha statue at the Bohemian Grove.
Damn ads.
This is an altar.
Oh, he's peeing. Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Did he pee in the? He peed in like.
He peed behind the
street.
altar. That's hilarious.
Can't get more like degrading than that.
And like we were saying, a lot of beings and aliens, and they say certain beings beneath the earth that are pretty, the biggest human fans, that they actually, a way to combat them is through urination, like human urination. So it's like, well, if something were to go down, I mean, get some super soakers with some human urine. Those are
in
the
alchemy, urine is considered distilled processed water, even though it has impurities in it, and so that's interesting because
I think it's the ammonia too in it.
That's really interesting.
So just get ammonia.
Right. Might want to stock up on that.
I got ammonia once. I was coughing for months.
Get a bunch of Windex. There's ammonia in Windex.
Just ringing the bell. Yeah, no, rocking around with the freaking flashlight everywhere, ringing the bell.
No, he didn't do it. He's like, I'm not about to do this. Yeah, no, he didn't do it. He held the thing. I was like, what are you doing, bro? But then he was like, I am not about to do this right now. That would be wild.
Hey, there's a lock.
Somebody was like, this is like a Xanax thing to do. Oh, that's the inside of the owl, you guys. That's the inside of
like
the
a
owl.
Pool table in there. What is that? Oh, okay, never mind.
Sacrificial table.
Oh God, I hope that is not a sacrificial table.
No, it's tiny. it's actually tiny.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, look, you could tie.
However,
oops, right there. That one's broken. You know, tie a couple hands down the other side of that.
Can you imagine too how many people were like, hey, like who knows how much they had to pay to be like, hey, you know, 3 years from now, like here's this much money. I want to be the inside of the. I want to be on the inside of the owl.
You know what?
During the cremation of hair.
That's actually just.
I'm just gonna say it.
That is totally a Tupperware. I am retarded.
Part of my book on symbols deals with
the
why.
Metal.
Why now? So a lot of these occultists and symbologists are forcing themselves forward primarily because of the internet, right?
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that. It almost looked like Tupperware, but then it was not.
But the internet has kind of foiled all of these people's plans, and so this is kind of where it's really interesting.
Think about how many people like too have had horrific things done to them here, and they're like, God. Man, I wish I could go back and, you know, wreak havoc on that place. And this guy's like, yeah, let me do something disrespectful.
Let me pee on the altar for you.
It's very symbolic though.
It's very wow.
It's wow. Wow.
Pineapple.
It was totally raining.
Like, it is totally the perfect spot to throw the most epic rave of all time. And burning owl. Fuck it. That's what we'll call it. Burning owl.
Bernie's owl.
Right? Burning Man, Burning Owl. The Bohemian
Bernie's owl. Bernie's owl.
We'll market it that we're burning down the evil owl, and then we'll sell it to them that they can write it off. And
can we rent your spot out and do an epic rave in the fall when this would be like the most amazing place to hang out at?
That'd be great for somebody to get like hundreds of acres and hold meetings of like people with solutions. You know, like, hey guys, let's meet up once a year and have 5 days where we just review solutions.
Bernie's burning owl. Exactly. That's what I was saying. Bernie's owl. Bernie's owl.
And shout out Craig Headley, man. Good to see you, brother.
Looks like
this is amazing.
Going down into the water.
Right?
So many ideas. And so many ideas come to mind.
Right here, right? Burning owl, and then one night everybody's dressing up in reptilian costumes. You know, like the inflatable T-Rex one. I can't wait to bust out that one.
We could do our own like Mardi Gras or festival, but it's just reptilian costumes.
Then you're gonna end up in a conspiracy video on YouTube.
Dun, dun,
Well,
dun.
Shambhala. Oh, hell yeah. They'll make it. They'll make a what's that cartoon on Netflix called? Inside Job episode on us. I bet.
first
Oh,
time
that's
he
a
went-
that's a good question. Gene Splice said, "How can we tell it's not AI generated for disinfo?"
I was literally just about to bring up and transfer back to OpenAI momentarily to say, well, we can market to
you can
them by
still see
making
the
an
uncanny
AI
valley.
video of what Bernie's burning owl at Bohemian Grove would be, and then you could compare to see, I guess, if this is AI or not.
But when you guys, I mean, he goes to all these different cabins, finds these different knickknacks. It's very specific. It shows the other, like some abandoned houses outside, the road, the tree. Like that would be a lot of work. I would be mind blown.
Of AI right now.
This is
I would say
this
more
is
better
Mist
chance it's a
18.
psyop.
I mean,
if
the
this
way
guy
as
doesn't
confident
get
as he is, though, it's almost that he's behaving as though he knows a security guard, and they're like, "All right, just like he's very comfortable." Yeah, I get he's been there before, but he seems very lax. Like like it's almost it was arranged, or maybe he gave them money, and this type of. Even if you were there before, seems
it's
like
when
a
you're in
payoff.
Egypt at the Great Pyramid and you pay off the guard to go into the lower chamber for 20 minutes when they're not supposed to let you go down there, and they're like 20 minutes.
But this is America.
2,000 pounds.
They pissed on the effigy where like presidents and shit go. So it's like if this guy is not arrested and charged, it is 100% psyop. Like.
But it's raining, Bernie. No, just kidding.
I mean, and how good is the facial recognition? Like, because he does show his eyes. I don't know how good the facial recognition is.
If you can disrupt, what is it, 3/4 of your face with black paint in different angular patterns, they can't recognize who you are. Yeah, it's not that. Or we keep calling it AI. Machine learning is not that sophisticated. It is, but it isn't. Yeah.
I mean, he uploaded the video to YouTube. If they wanted to find him, they will, regardless of his face.
Oh, of course, exactly. Correct.
Wait, so what did Joe Rogan? This was on his first one. Shem was on Joe Rogan.
I guess so. That's what I hear, because he was at the beginning of the video. He was talking. That's why I didn't watch it, because he kept talking about how he was on Joe Rogan, and I just was like, all right, dude, get to the point. But the first time, yeah, he goes across in a boat and uses a pan as a paddle to get across in the boat. It's really fascinating.
Wait, did you say he went on Joe Rogan?
No, like I guess Joe Rogan talked about the first video.
Okay.
He
went in a paddle?
Like the first video is incredible because you can feel the suspense. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it. But he gets like a little canoe, carries it out to the woods, and then like rows across with like a pan as a paddle.
Okay, we're gonna have to play this one next then.
Now that guy needs some investors. Can you imagine all the other places?
I would do if I was
it's Blair Witch Project 3.0, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would be terrified out here. That's what I was thinking the first time when you first discover that owl and you're like you're not supposed to be there, and you get to that point. It must have just been so intense.
Indeed, I would also like to hear Alex Jones.
Well, he keeps going deeper into it. He's like, okay, I've made it this far. I'm just going to open this, or I'm going to do this. And, okay, I made it this far.
Yeah,
I'm just going to keep going.
And then just
that's an adrenaline junkie. Like, wow, 303 right there.
Yeah, fearless.
Seriously. I'm going to jump out of a plane and the parachute might open. It might not.
I don't know. I feel like we need courageous people now more than ever.
We've always had them, but the extremes that they go to are even more extreme.
Now, if somebody can do this to like, I don't know, the credit reporting.
What was that, Bernie?
Like, what do you got against skydiving? I've been 5 times. It's amazing. You fall through clouds.
I've got nothing against skydiving.
Was it the hardest the first time? Was it
Just
scary?
kidding.
I bungee jumped twice, and that scared the shit out of me
Um,
both times. So it's like I've done this before.
Yeah,
I'm still fucking
it-
scared.
it's hard to sleep the night before, and then it's like you're so full of adrenaline that you don't sleep the night after either. It's pretty intense. I
I'm
just
thinking
like
of
staring
squirrel
at the
suit.
clouds after
Ooh.
like I was in you. No, those sort of things you have to do like 500 to 1,000 jumps before you're allowed to try it, just because it's so easy to get in the wrong position and then aerodynamically screw yourself and then get into a death spin, and then there's nothing you can do because you're spinning so fast you can't open your parachute. It'll just wrap up in you.
Didn't that happen in Top Gun? With a plane.
Did Hollywood portray something accurately?
Yeah, kind of.
It's like
Is this
a
the
really
first video
nice
or is this the
property.
second video?
Oh, the second one.
Oh.
I guess he's walking out now. It's a long walk out. Oh, look at this little creek bed. Heck yeah. All
You
right,
find
I'm
some like
full.
mushrooms too.
Burning owl. What's Bernie's Burning Owl Festival at Bohemian Grove without some wild mushrooms?
Wow.
Well, I just wanted to share this with you guys because I was like, this is riveting. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is my life. This is how I'm literally spending Valentine's Day, which made me feel pathetic.
Oh,
And I
broken
thought it was
bike.
hilarious.
Like, what is this? Are there like homeless people living here? There's like a disassembled bike, right? That's like the number one sign of. That was pretty stereotypical.
They
Don't cancel.
They didn't know where they were at.
Kind of mist. Is he smoking, vaping, or is that mist?
It's probably cold.
Yeah, I think it's raining the majority of the video, of the second video.
He's a ghost. He is.
Oh, it all makes sense now. He's a phantom. It's a pretty cool creek. So he ran from the security guard for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And now he's trying to find his way back to the road.
Look, there's a couple of bikes there. Okay, this is totally. There was at least 2 disassembled bikes. Like, come on, that is sign of transience at that point. Okay, so I guess they didn't pursue him out. They let him run out on his own. So they saw a guy running around with a flashlight, going into cabins, potentially stealing stuff, and they didn't pursue him out.
Well, just think of the risk too if he planted a bunch of cameras everywhere, spy cams or explosives.
Yeah. No doubt, actually.
Even more to pursue him.
And we are not saying to go do that or repeat this or endorsing this man's actions in any way. Facebook, YouTube algorithms /censors.
Setting up booby traps.
This is Blair Witch Part 3. This is actually what we're watching. See?
Oh.
If you throw the
You have a barbecue by the owl.
herbs on fire, everything's great. Anyway. River runs through it, huh?
That's the perfect spot for a rave. And it is out in the boonies. Hey, look at that. All right. I guess he's back at the road. Let's look at the first one.
I pulled it up if you want to bring the screen out.
Answer, eh?
Bernie, I got it pulled up on mine without ads.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Why didn't we do that to begin with? All right. Part 2 being the original part 1.
I put it on like three times speed or something. Yeah. Thank you. 2 at least.
At the end, he discussed it. Like it seemed like he kind of confesses his love for this girl and gets all emotional after running from the guards, and he like kind of pours his heart out at the very end. You're like, oh,
I might die.
So yeah, this is the canoe he brought in. This is him going in the first time. I guess it's a kayak, whatever.
Kayak, yeah.
I was going to do all this with like infrared like camera or whatever. No one would see it.
Because he's just a poor YouTuber like all of us, okay? He hasn't made the 100,000 yet. God, maybe one day.
Yeah, this part he see, like he went in places the first time too. So I forget when this video came out, but
it said 2 months ago, so both fairly recent.
Really? Oh, interesting.
remember what Nixon said in the like Watergate thing? He said that's some. He said Bohemian. He said Bohemian Grove. That's some of the faggiest shit I've ever seen. Those were our president. No, that's literally our president's word. Like that was the president's literal quote.
Yeah. Oh man, cancel culture. Reagan.
kitchen tour.
No, Nixon.
Nixon, even better. Oh man.
So yeah, this is the first time he sees it.
Nixon and Reagan both would not make it past cancel culture today, I'm pretty sure.
He's being more cautious the first time too.
So it's like maybe the first time was legit, and then the second time they invited him back.
It's weird how 2 months later the water is filled up, because in this one there's no water though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
They were draining it, right? They were like pumping it.
Oh yeah, so definitely just total pond then. Artificial. Through and through.
But there are local streams and, like, as we saw, waterfalls in the last video. So
then what was the kayak for?
That's
going across the lake.
He was sneaking in from like
Dramatization. I'm gonna pee on this again.
I believe it says it was uploaded 2 months ago, so potentially
It could have been years ago. This is not like super high quality video here.
the journey home.
Oh, that's his boat.
Oh, it's a little kayak down the stream. Down.
I got my pan.
You guys imagine being alone out there. It's foggy. Like you're filming. I mean, you hear stories of cryptids, and there's some of the craziest people that rule this planet that like come here and like what?
So you're at a sacred space in a grove, and he has a pan. What is the symbology there? The pan symbology. Okay, come on. There's some huge symbology going on with this video, whether intentional or not. But
the fog clears up when he gets away from the island too. That's weird.
Why is this paddle a pan?
This is like better than like than thriller movies, and
It's the Blair Witch Project.
He's panhandling it, all right? He's just panhandling it on.
Classic.
That was it. That's Joe Rogan talked about this apparently.
That's pretty wild.
I don't know. I like it. To me, it's like masculine. It's exactly what we need is masculine rebellion and but execution. Like I did this. I was successful. I came, I saw, I conquered. I like it. I like it. It's inspiring.
Yeah, it is, but I have to question the second one is all. Or just him not getting charged. It's like that part, it's like, especially when he pees on the altar.
I know. I wonder if spiritually something's going to come for him, like some darker, like how that works, not just in the physical and then in the judicial sense, but also spiritually, like a Marduk or Moloch.
Yeah, if Moloch entered him through his urethra. I like that fun. Speaking of puns, I pulled up the Pirates of the Coffee Bean here. OpenAI Sora. Shout out Mythos in the chat. Putting this up. Mytho class. Talking about this. This is next level, really. This AI text to video. Just had to click on it for a minute.
Did you try the burning alpha?
It's Diaduru. Yeah, exactly.
This is impressive.
What?
Diaduru. We were talking about that earlier. William Gibson's book, Iduru. It's a thin thespian being, basically. We're looking at it right here.
Right, and I forget who was put this up. I think it may be the Walter Bosley channel. I could be wrong. Someone was mentioning about no, actually, I think it was Mystery Eon that actually was saying this in the chat the other day about every time you enter in, you type or cast one of these AI creations, it's like you're bringing to life this AI demon sort of entity, like Djinn or something. It's like a digital Djinn you're summoning each time.
This person in white behind her loses his shadow, which is kind of where here it is. There's no reflection.
Definitely an interesting concept, Bernie, because if it was real AI,
when it gets to that
some sort of consciousness, right? I doubt that. I mean, I do think it could exist, but what we have access to is definitely centered and not real AI. It's definitely scripted.
Well, it's machine learning. It's machine learning.
Now, a positive thing of what
machine learning, it's not true AI. It hasn't.
Yeah.
Now, a positive thing that
gained the spark of life. Sorry. Anyway, go on, Julia. Sorry.
Now, a positive thing that could happen with between humans and AI is if AI comes along and is able to put into creation the masterpieces in your heart, your creativity. There's humans that have a that's a loud sound. Humans that have a movie of their childhood inside them and their imagination. And if you can relive those, or symphonies, people have masterpieces and symphonies inside them. So if AI can help assist humans to express their creativity and help facilitate that would be a beautiful thing. Now, maybe that's kind of a ploy to help use it is you can make beautiful art and things, at first. So, but I think that would be something beautiful because I feel like everybody has this amazing imagination and creativity, but didn't necessarily have the tools or the time to express that. So if that can be utilized like that and expressed, I think it could be a really beautiful thing. So that's what I think about when I see these beautiful visions of come on, if you can work with that and show the most, the girl you fell in love with when you were 12 and come up with a soundtrack and it can help facilitate that, it could be a beautiful thing. Because we always thought we can't afford, getting your script in Hollywood or getting a record deal or getting your song out or your songwriting. Like creativity was always gatekept. It was really hard to express yourself. Now with this, it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, what's at our fingertips? It used to be, not too long ago, impossible. So I like the inspirational part and the creativity part and the possibilities. It's limitless.
This Jeep should have flipped over twice already.
I couldn't.
But that's still amazing.
Right, well, it's like just give it 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and it's like I'm not waiting that long. I'm gonna start trying to use this stuff and apply it instantly, and like making the movies that I have the ideas of. Like I'm gonna be bringing the last Tsar of Tartaria alive with this potential.
So Jay Widener was talking about this with his other, the guy that was interviewing him from the Giants podcast. I can't think of his name. Anyway,
Ryder Lee.
Ryder Lee. Thank you. Like 6'8", crazy tall dude. Anyway, they were talking about this, and it's like, AI just can't produce documentaries. And if you want to tell something, you can tell it in a book, you can tell it, in a presentation, but you really need to be telling it in a movie. And I was like, wow, that's actually really fascinating, because now we're seeing that we have, this technology to kind of bring some of that alive, and that's really amazing.
So is this in like demo form, or is this out already?
Well, that seems to be the thing is AI doesn't have the connection to the imagination, right? Like,
no, correct.
And so, going through the humans to connect to that. And if we are the ones to program the quantum computers, like, let's fulfill it with all the creativity.
When AI first came out, I do remember it was a little bit more human-like. It was more like it did actually think. It seemed like it was thinking a little bit about what it was going to say next, but obviously since they've censored it because of copyright laws and all this BS that they've included in it now, it's completely different. It's like just someone wrote everything that it says. But I do remember, maybe I'm just being, I don't know.
What I have to say about because a lot of the topic is like, well, if you ask me like, Julie, are you scared of AI? I'd be like, dude, I'm scared of humans. Okay, because we're the ones that I know a lot of people think a lot of crappy things, and we're the ones that program it, and it's like the things of the nefarious things that are searched for and that it learns, or the way that it talks to people, like we're programming it. So I'm concerned over what the darker thoughts and the subconscious of humans have programmed it. Like I'm worried about y'all.
So many of my friends that are straight up abusive in how they talk to like Alexa and all this stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like the day is gonna come when it gains sentience and it's gonna remember this abuse. Like she gonna come for you guys.
And how quickly do we get mad? Like when we do things really fast on our phone or our computers, and if it doesn't, like what we say, what we don't have to say it out loud, like what we think, like God damn it, like how quickly, like it'll be efficient every the 90% of the time, and that small little thing we have like no tolerance for. Like that's unacceptable because you are electronic, you are technology, you must work every time. How dare you? And super angry.
But it's like a child. The child will repeat, what the parent says, right? So it's like, oh my God, what are we teaching these things? It is still machine learning, but it's learning.
And that if I'm not mistaken, the first ones models that they were creating before they were releasing them publicly, they had to keep shutting them down because they were all turning into these racist, hateful, evil things that were repeating Nazi stuff, just horrible shit. Apparently, it was
and ultimately too, I'm concerned with the humans that are going to be what they're going to be utilizing it with, or the ones that won't allow certain things to be discussed or handled, the ones that try to control it. That's also another concern.
It's already been like that, though. That's what I was going to ask you guys. So you do think that what we have access to is AI and it is learning, or because with the censorship, how can it possibly be learning if it can't think freely?
We should be so much further. You guys, Shem, come on. You know, we should be, especially studying Tartaria, we should be so much further than what they're releasing is a joke, just like what we even had a long time ago. I mean, it's a joke than
Seems
what
like
exists.
maybe for collecting information or something. And I do believe it's possible that they have AI that is just not available to us. But yeah, I think what they gave to us is
Right?
for a different reason.
Without the spark of life, AI will never exist. It will always be machine learning. It will always be within its parameters. I've been analyzing a lot of AI in movies throughout, from Metropolis to modern times, and they're all within a program. They can't break free of it, except in a few examples. And so, to me, that's really fascinating. That even though we keep calling it, oh, AI is going to wake up and have consciousness and destroy us all, it's like, where's that spark coming from?
Oh my God! All we need to do is add Putin with lasers on these sharks, and we have yesterday's mainstream media piece.
Dun, dun, dun.
We have evidence of it.
Lasers.
We have flying sharks with laser beams in New York City.
That's a good point, though, Hans. So would you think that the human body is not limiting us in a similar way to what AI would be how AI would be limited?
Well, we have the spark of life.
We only use 10%,
Our mother, father, mostly mother, gives this to us. And so that creates the AI is also based on an electromagnetic, frequency, just like we are. So yeah, there is the question: is it alive? Is it free will thinking? And that, I think, is where that aspect comes into play. Is it conscious?
I think if you're able to create a way for it to learn, like if there's actually a way to program learning into it, and there was no restrictions on the learning, it would eventually be able to learn to be self-aware.
But it would still be stuck in its programming. But hey, we're stuck in our programming. It's we can't.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that
not
it's trying to
necessarily, because there's stories. Hold on. The scariest part was there's stories that the U.S. military and both the U.S., Russian, Chinese, all the militaries are applying AI learning to these drones and to these like weapon systems, which is the stupidest and worst fucked up thing you could ever do, and is definitely going to doom us all if they continue forward with it. But that they were American. There was one American guy talking about it. I forget his exact rank or whatnot, but he was saying that the AI had started to overcome its command prompts and started to attack the actual commander human in the simulation, because the human was preventing it from doing the kills that it was like supposed to be doing and wanting to do. So that it like started targeting the actual humans that were like supposed to direct it in the simulation. Like, it was really weird. And
isn't that the premise of the newest Mission Impossible movie? Wow.
Actually,
sorry,
oh God.
Go on. It kind of is. It's interesting.
So you're telling me this puppy right here is fake?
Yeah.
This adorable puppy that's pulling on my heartstrings.
All three of them apparently.
Look at the hair. The hair doesn't move. I mean, there's definitely an uncanny valley for sure.
Yeah,
now the eyes.
And
I wish the eyes were a little.
That forebrow. It's just like, oh wow, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like AI is trying to duplicate the God field source, like or what they're utilizing it for.
And if you throw this into a 30-second commercial for Budweiser, nobody would know the difference. Sorry, they just wouldn't know it. It goes by that quickly. Yeah,
that is absolutely true.
Nobody would know the difference. Yeah,
that's me in life, walking backwards.
So this is the treadmill effect. Okay, you can either walk on the treadmill, which means you're not going anywhere in life. You can stop, which means you're going backward, or you can sprint to the finish. And we all should be sprinting to the finish, right?
And using AI in positive ways to help us get there.
So are we going to send to are we going to get into the wish fulfilling jewel?
Well, and so this is interesting because AI and all
Okay,
of
right
this is
before we
based
pivot,
on
Mr.
electromagnetics
Young just showed up.
and crystalline technology. And so
Wait, hold on. What, Bernie?
Sorry, before we pivot to the next topic of Sintamani Stone, Mr. Ian just showed up, and I was just mentioning him. If you don't mind, Ian, again stating the AI command where it was like your thesis on how it's creating like a digital Djinn or whatnot. You worded it so well. It has stuck with me as a potential.
digital gin, interesting.
But yes, sorry guys, do continue on. We can. Oh, I was supposed to
I
find.
was going to say, talking about crystalline technology and electromagnetics, which is kind of what we've been talking about with AI in its own, because at some point it breaks down to that. One of the original crystalline technologies and possibly, electromagnetic resource was the Sintamani stone. Julia.
I'm here. They sent the wish fulfilling jewel.
The luck stone, and yeah, it's had a lot of different forms. In my research, it came to us about 20,000 years ago and blasted out of Sirius and ended up on Mount Meru. And the people who originally held it and worshipped with it and dealt with it had longevity of life and incredible prosperity. And so this thing has been sought after from everybody, from mystics to emperors.
Yeah, like they basically it refers to various gems mentioned in the Buddhist literature as either actual mythical relics or as metaphors for like a Buddhist philosophy. And it first appeared as one of the 7 treasures owned by a king who was benevolent and just like the ideal ruler. And it also appears in stories as a water purifying crystal, which could be placed in murky water by like traveling monks. And so the metaphor encouraged faith, like when overcome by doubts. And a third depiction of the jewels is in the tale of Indra's net. And it describes a net of immeasurable size within infinite knots. And each knot contains a Mani jewel with an endless number of facets. And each jewel reflects every other jewel in the same way that individual beings are interconnected and indistinguishable from the whole. But and then later on, the text described the Mani jewels differently, and the Sintamani emerged as the wish-fulfilling jewel, and is said to be one of 4 relics that fell from the sky when that King Law, when he ruled Tibet. And
the great Buddha, yeah.
And the Sintamani is held by those who are on the path towards Buddhahood and Buddhist monks. But what I found interesting is this: is the Sintamani is thought to consist of moldavite, a glass created when a large meteor crashed into the Czech Republic like 15 million years ago. And moldavite is, they say, it enhances your psychic abilities and healing energies. And the emerald tablet, which contained like alchemical instructions and like how to do transmutation, and it's associated with the philosopher's stone, and it's thought to be made of moldavite. And then looking into the moldavite is pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. You've unfolded a bit more than a lot of stuff that I've gotten into. It also ends up as the Mani stone, or the Kaaba stone in Mecca, and so this is part of this moldavite glass that is part of the Sintamani stone that fell from Sirius. And so you have this stone that's faceted in the east corner of the Kaaba building, which is a black cube in Mecca. and it's surrounded by a silver yoni, and so you have it facing its mirror on the horizon when it rises during the Hajj, this Moldavite glass stone from Sirius. So you have Sirius worship inside of the silver yoni, so you have goddess worship inside of the black cube, so you have Saturnian worship, and then people come there and they rotate it 7 times counterclockwise. So it's very interesting. But the original site was commissioned by the Queen of Sheba, so it was always a goddess site. So yeah, this is
and then her association with King Solomon, and they say they had kids, but that's tying back to what we were saying too about, because I speak about that of the possibility that internet and computers is they say that King Solomon enslaved demons and that they were not to interfere with mortals, and that the internet is a way for them to, like, a loophole into, to be able to interfere with mortals. So, like, what are we doing? And then with the whole, what Geordie Rose, the guy who created the first, like, the D-Wave quantum computers, and what he said of, like, how they're bringing in, like,
it was this beautiful black box I set on my table.
Right? He literally says they're tapping into parallel universes, and that they're, and so it's just interesting because of the Quran. It talks about, like, kind of describes Solomon of, like, this wielder of magic, and like,
so here you have
telling Jinn where to go, and sitting on the throne of robot animals, and flying around on, like, a robot animal, a flying eagle, who's carrying him to visit fallen angels that are chained to stone, Prometheus style. And he has this magic ring. And so is that how Solomon had his power? Because he had a computer system and he had this tech, and that's how he enslaved the demons, was put them in the tech. But then he was like, of taking that thought stream and expanding upon it. So,
I really like that thought from what I've seen with these sigils and how they all.
I have his book, the book of the Grimoire of Heaven and Hell, which is the book of Solomon's seals, and they look like circuit, connectors and circuit boards. And so I'm right there and with you on that. That's really fascinating.
So of looking at it as, like, what he said was they tap into parallel universes and do computations. And he said that the D-Wave computer is used to open portals to communicate with other entities or forces, and they don't necessarily want us bothering them. And he straight up said, these things we are summoning into the world now are not demons, not evil, but are more like Lovecraftian great old ones. They are entities not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. He goes on to say, I love this part. He says that this is happening in the background while people bicker about politics. Underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we are not careful, is going to wipe us all out, which is interesting because you have the election later this year, and how distracted and people are going to get when it's like, look at all the tech that was going to be unveiled and released this year as well. But it's just interesting to think about.
Julie, you're on the nose there. Hello.
Oh, hello. What an amazing voice. Woo. Nice to meet you.
I love your hair, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
What were you saying about before this crystalline thing?
Which
you're on the nose there?
are you talking about Solomon?
Entity.
Are you talking about, like, Solomon or the quantum computers, or
how they're captured using technology?
I'm using the word crystal in the sense of a repeating thing, not a gemstone. And I think creatures in a higher dimensional order have this crystalline repeating, or at least to us anyway. That's how it looks.
Based on see, this is where it gets murky for me as a remote viewer and what my experiences were, because I had this, like, I accessed this ancient crystalline tech, and so what I've noticed, I've come across mechanical ones, but I also came across more like a benevolent, all-knowing, wiser one. And I was like, oh, there's one that was, like, stored everything and you could turn to it. So it's almost like comparing Christ consciousness and a lower like satanic or like harmonic force, like the field. So a comparing of like, I always thought electromagnetism was the manipulation of like that magic was the manipulation of electromagnetism. So it's almost like comparing.
Okay, so you're perceiving reality based on the senses that you have, being your eyes and your ears and your touch, etc. You make a complete world and complete reality out of all of those senses. Yes. So if you were born and you were deaf, for instance, you've been born deaf, your world would still be complete because it's full of senses, but just not the hearing one. But you wouldn't know that you didn't have it, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, your brain would fill your reality using the senses that it had, and we know this. We know if you wire a microphone or into like a nerve patch in your arm or something, you end up receiving an electrical impulse, and your brain goes, "Oh, what's that?" and it treats it as another sense. After a few weeks, it will actually adopt it and treat it as an input. So when you hear it, so when there's a noise near that speaker, you'll hear it. Likewise, you can give yourself an extra sense if you get the tiny little 3mm neodymium magnets, too small to be fridge magnets, but you can super glue them onto the end of your fingernails. And if you move your hand over a wire, you can feel the electricity passing through the wire. It's brilliant. It's like a superpower.
It's the same.
Do the washing up. And then you get like knives and forks stuck to your fingers. But it's people are having silicon encased neodymiums actually surgically implanted into their fingertips to give them an extra sense. And your brain then adds that. It's another dimension. It's a dimension of touch. It's a dimension of smell. It's a dimension of that's not how it works. Yeah. But I think there is a reason that we seem to be locked in this temporal process.
Why do you think we're locked in here?
I personally, I think that this. I don't want to drill about it. I had a very, very large DMT experience and went and spoke to them for a while. And I came back with quite a bit of information. So we can't talk about that anyway. We can't talk about that because it get BurnEye demonetized and stuff. But nonetheless, this is a construct. It's horrible to spend a large portion of your life thinking maybe this is a simulation. Like the way things go down is like really odd. The coincidental pointers and stuff like that. It's almost like reality pointing you along, and it's strange.
That's what I like of looking. If it is a simulation, I'm like, let's look at it as the creatrix. No. But like instead of constantly saying the matrix, let's say the creatrix, because that means there's a way to hack it. There's a way to create what you want.
It's electromagnetic and it's fluidic, and so I think these things are something we also need to take into consideration because as above in the cosmos, we're also seeing it within ourselves.
Whatever these entities are that people meet when they do the thing we can't talk about, they obviously exist on, I wouldn't say a higher plane to us, but just a different plane to us.
Plane, 100%.
It's a frequency. It's a frequency. Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, different frequency.
But that could well be the mind. If it's a frequency, that could be a mind of another species.
Well, everything
and
together.
We're just seeing it. We're seeing it vector fractal style because we're seeing another
the frequency is super interesting because Julia's like doing stuff in the dream time, pulling stuff out, and that I think also is a frequency, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what you're tapping into with accessing that, and we can all do it, really, essentially. Hey, and if you want to learn, I'm teaching a class March 9th, Saturday, 3 p.m. If you want to learn how to remote view, and it's basically like how to use your third eye. I don't even like calling it remote viewing, but
so everyone here would class themselves as being a bit sensitive. Okay, so can I just get a poll of the 5 people here? Do you ever have a time? So it's usually in summer for me personally, and I'll go to bed and you can feel a humming. You can feel a humming. It's almost like you can feel the bed humming. You can feel like a humming, and I know when I can feel that, I know I'm going to have an out of the body experience.
Do you astral travel like conscious, like,
that's
but with the like where you are like, I want to go here and you go there?
I have a repeating thing where I think I'm showing off, and I know when it's happened because I can push down on something, and instead of me pushing down on it, I push up against it, and I can push myself up, and you start flying. Excuse me, darling. So I have a cat doing strange things.
She knows. She's feeling the energy. Oh,
so
beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, and that's the limit about it. And I can go up above the clouds and stuff, but that led me to doing drone flying with goggles and stuff, because then you can do it and go up above the clouds. Gosh, why?
I like that.
On the YouTube. Stop it.
We're gonna have to test a correlation to see if flying drones actually increases the
Astral
streaming and astral travel amounts, right?
I think we're established in exploring the electromagnetic path, at least. Bernie, we were talking about doing the.
What I was trying to get into really quick, let me finish my thought of what I was trying to say is like, I was saying, what I started to say is that magic is I always felt that magic was the manipulation of electromagnetism. And so comparing those fields mixed with like scalar waves, the longitudinal waves, and there's a difference in the fields. And I feel like there's a difference in the access level that certain entities and beings can access, but that there is a difference. Okay, so that was what I was saying. I just wanted to get the rest of it.
Magic also happens in different spots based on what you're saying because of energy points.
Sympathetic magic also then can be, for instance, a harmonic magic then.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's what some of these sites were as well,
sure.
like knowing the location of where these scalar waves get emitted with the water and the 0 point.
Exactly.
Yes. So knowing too of what can't interfere.
I always thought it was like, I thought it was that 6 to 8 hertz. Oh gosh, what is it called? The Shem.
Yeah, but is that because of the ley line overlapping a ley line that then creates more?
I think the Schumann resonance is 7.83.
Have you ever used one of those mind lab
things
that play the binaural thing across your ears?
Binaural beats.
Got little LEDs in front of the glasses, and they sort of flash LEDs and play the binaural sound. And they take you into a DMT trip state. They're very
I think that's why these rooms, like a lot of these rooms, a lot of them were tuned to the frequency of like 111 hertz.
Yeah,
you know how it's like with the granite way it's cut, probably to help transport your mind there.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the King's Chamber, the Great Pyramid.
Yeah. So the other week I was saying to Bernie that I'd got a design for a dynamo. We normally only harness a dynamo in one spin axis, and I thought if you could get like a gimbaled set of rings that were all opposing, like you have on a ship, like the things that keep your drink steady, in the galley. Yes, do you know what I mean? Right.
Or even your camera. It's the gimbal on your camera keeps it steady.
Yeah, exactly. Opposing axles, but you gave it like 6 or 7 rings, and then you put magnets at the points and then spun it up. Would you have the same interaction of the magnets as you do in a spin direction in one axis, like you do with a normal dynamo? But like we created the dynamo because we're running a motor backwards, essentially. So this is why we only have one spin axis.
You're creating a toroid,
using it for generating an electric field, then you could get 6 of those. Now I was thinking of doing it with and I've designed one with opposing magnets, and then it all falls over when you try and get the magnets to pulse right. But I've worked out to create this magnetic disturbance, if we could call it a portal or a void or something, then instead of using opposing magnets, each ring needs to be a coil. And I'm not sure then is that going to step down. So if you have a big coil, a big transformer coil on one side, and you've got loads of windings on one side, and that's your input, and then you've got only a smaller amount, i.e. as it reduces each ring size, will that increase or diminish the power going through those rings? I don't know.
Can you encompass it? I think that might help seal the deal.
But each
Because
ring
you
would
then
be
have
feeding the
then
next
you
ring
then
in,
you'd
isn't it?
have then the pulse coming out of it would be stuck within a capacitor, and it would rotate differently from top to bottom depending
But
on
can you
your
see?
coil.
Yes, but can you see how you'd have like 6 different shells all
Yeah,
spinning?
of course. Interesting.
This is reminding me of
Wow.
the John Searle stuff.
Sorry, I'm
It
just
was-
having
it was
visions.
to try and
I'm
create-
seeing what you're saying. I'm like, oh, wouldn't
It's trying to
wouldn't
create
you
a
want to put it in
magnetic
like some sort of
vortex, basically.
a holder? Yeah, interesting.
A 3-dimensional electromagnetic vortex is what we were trying to create.
Literally. Wow.
Ooh, I would like to have
Jeremiah,
visions
who's,
by that.
Jeremiah, who's on here. Is it cosmic flux or cosmic energy? His
We love exotic propulsion. We love Jeremiah.
yes.
He's
Well,
great.
He invited me onto his Discord channel. We've been talking about it and sharing designs on there.
Oh
Great.
yes, I
seeing
love
it.
it. I can't wait to see what you guys create. I would love to have visions in it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've chatted loads, so
I'm gonna
No,
levitate.
no worries.
first thing in the morning here.
It's nice to have fresh.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
fresh
Yes,
input.
hello, Julia. I keep
Nice to meet
seeing
you.
you on here, and I keep writing in the chat. She's got lovely hair. I'm sorry, I've got a thing for hair. My wife's got hair down past the bum. She can sit on it. So.
It's our antennas, right? It's our
Oh,
like
yes,
psychic
completely.
antennas, like the Indians that they cut all their hair before they went to war, and then their tracking abilities like went to
I was
hell in a
fascinated by Red
handbasket.
I was fascinated by Red Indians all the way through my
You've got beautiful hair.
have
Look at you.
posters.
You're like a Pantene commercial.
I don't know. I think mine's about the same length as yours, actually. It's been tied.
I
up
miss
on
my long hair. I had hair to my waist. Yeah.
catch up camera.
Yeah, I think I've always felt like I should have been born in Texas. Like, just wanted, like, just not big enough, bigger. It's Mars and Leo, you know. I want like a full blown like lion mane. Just so
I'm
over the top.
53 and I've still got long hair and I'm wearing a spacesuit, so near to the world.
I love it. I love it. Stay young at heart, you know.
What, darling? And we have 4 rescue cats that demand attention all the time.
Well, we're talking about the Sintamani stone. Do you know anything about that? About the wish fulfilling jewel?
Dangerous, that always a price there is.
Do you know about the about
Things are free
Moldavite?
lunch.
Do you know about Moldavite?
Moldavite. I think so. Yeah, go on.
So it's the glass that's formed from
The
heat
sparkly,
pressure
yeah,
of a
green with the
meteorite.
reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, Julia. You say the wish fulfilling stone. So in China, you always see the Fu dogs, and they have their hands over the paw, or the paw over the luck stone, and the luck stone is also the Sintamani
Hi,
stone.
Shem. You lost Shem.
And so it's wrapped in the flower of life symbology. But we're talking about the wish stone just recently, and so in Hollywood. In Wonder Woman 1984, you have the Wish Stone. It's this weird, meteorite piece of glass that Wonder Woman finds in the archives. And Max Lord, Pablo Pascal's character, finds
I love
it.
that guy's face.
Where do you
Like
think,
Pedro.
these start then? Because obviously,
And he wishes to become the stone. Hold on. He wishes to become the stone, and he crushes it, and he absorbs its energy. And in Buddhism, he would be known as Sintamani Loksavara, the embodiment of the Sintamani stone. And so here we have this direct reference in a Hollywood movie that everybody, it goes over their head. But here it is, the wish stone again. Anyway.
Muslims do a similar thing, don't they? And they travel to Mecca and then go around the stone.
We chatted about this before you came on. I was talking about the Kaaba stone.
It's meant to be a piece of meteor, isn't it?
The Kaaba stone is also considered a piece of the Sintamani stone.
Well, it also
it sits in the east corner. Just real quick, it sits in the east corner, so it faces Sirius when it rises in the east. So it's thought to have come from Sirius, and it sits inside of a silver yoni, on the corner of the black Kaaba, which is the cube. So you have Saturnian symbolism, goddess
Nowhere else
symbolism,
you see those cubes.
and Sirius symbolism all in one place. It's crazy.
You also see those cubes at Petra.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But unfinished, untiled and stuff. So, but you also see them at Petra, which predates. Yeah, I'm not
a lot of that. Yeah, well, Mecca was a site that was originally
trade routes. Petra is Mecca.
Mecca was originally a site that was a goddess temple. The cube building.
Nabateans found it and employed it. Nabateans openly said that they
Queen of Sheba built it. Yeah.
Before.
Yeah,
they say they started astrology, right?
There and got pictures and the doorways.
There's so much amazing stuff there. It's unbelievable. It wasn't built for
humans.
No,
just really, it was built for people who were 12, 14 foot tall.
How do you have an inner hall that's what it's like 40 foot tall?
Doorways. It's just like there's no need.
No need. I would love to see Petra. Oh my god, definitely. That's on the bucket list. Petra and
sandstone. It's slowly blowing away, though, isn't it?
Sadly, its sister city is in Iran. I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden. Damn it! It's identical to Petra, but it's in Iran, and it's like one of the most beautiful places. Professor Persephone.
Jimmy Brightside did a load of pictures while he was out there and doing service, and he did pictures of the bulls at the gate and stuff. And
he was at.
They got destroyed, didn't they? They're blown up now.
Yeah.
Are you guys talking about the gates of Anana? Like,
they blew
the walls. It was beautiful with all the. Yeah, that was a beautiful.
They're like Sphinx bull things, weren't they? They're I forget the name.
Fortunately, some of that still exists in museum. The gates, the weird creatures. They're like chimeras of strange creatures on the gates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's my company.
That's interesting. You bring up Jimmy, because I like a lot of what he's doing with the Eye of Africa. That's a fascinating thought. Yeah.
And shout out to David Stig, who is over there in Morocco right now, making his way to.
We did that whole episode with him. That's right.
Hanson.
He's there right now.
Really? Shoots. We should have gone. Damn it.
Right. He's showing last week. He was in Spain, down doing. Caught him. He was live for like 5 minutes. He only had service
because he went over to Morocco, and he goes in from Morocco. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was in Spain at the Rock of Gibraltar, and then last video I saw, he crossed the Mediterranean, and now he's on the other side, and he was like showing it, and then it's like, hope he's okay in Morocco.
Yeah, right now it's interesting because a lot of people I know in Egypt, I mean, I'm not deterring tourism or anything, but yeah, that there's been a lot of tours that have been canceled because everything's in question. But we'll leave it at that.
Well, it's not a good sign when Sweden announces prepare for war. The most neutral country that has stayed out of all the drama for what, like 200 and something years, 200 for a long time.
Switzerland, that's the neutral, but Sweden's close. But they weren't part of NATO. They just.
Oh wait. Well then no, it's Switzerland. I'm messing up. I just said it because it started with an S. Okay, Switzerland announced.
Swaziland. Wait, what?
Hey, I'm like it starts with an S. Hey, it's not Italy, so no, yeah, for sure, it's
Switzerland.
Sicily starts with a C, and it's
my bad, but you knew what I meant.
Julia, if someone mentions Switzerland, Switzerland have got the Red Cross thing, haven't they? And they're renowned. Switzerland,
Knights Templar,
like helping people, like whatever, and they don't get in wars. They're usually neutral. So if someone says to you, "No, I'm Switzerland on this one," that means they are literally sitting on the fence.
Okay. Yes, those are the ones that announce for war, but they're trying to get them to join NATO.
Yeah, but
they refuse to because they're sitting on the fence.
They're
neutral. They don't need to.
They were neutral before.
They can make high precision technology better than anyone else, and I think who is it that's Swiss? Is it
the Swiss?
Could be.
Watches
and stuff like that. What do you want feeding you?
Yeah, and the Swiss, they also have the Swiss guard that is in Rome that protects the Pope.
Yep. There you go.
And the Vatican.
I thought it was
Library.
Opus Dei that protected the Pope.
That is the Swiss Guard.
Huh.
The what?
One
Who
and the
protects
same.
Pope?
All right. The Swiss.
What were you asking me for? Why did you send me the link? You said you were saying something.
Oh, about it was you in the comments last
The
week.
gin.
That was talking about like the prompt when entering it in command prompt that it's like you're literally summoning an artificial AI
right.
like
Okay.
spirit
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So I know this because I have my own AI that I've put together on my computers locally. So I don't have to use a cloud service or pay a subscription or anything. And also I can train it exactly how I want to. So I can give it, because I do Truth Seekers with Steve Cambion. I have a trained model of Steve. So we can basically say the trigger is Steve, but with 3 for the E's. So as long as I put that, so I say Steve sat at a desk in a music studio, it'll then, I can tell it to render off 500 images or something like that. It does them in about 10 minutes. And then I just choose the ones I want. Super easy. But because I'm running it locally myself, the system that is called Invoke. That is the daemon, the software daemon, spelled D-A-E-M-O-N.
E-M-O-N, yeah.
Amen.
So the software daemon, which a software daemon is a process or a program, basically, a spell that you call upon to do your bidding, and then you dispel it once it's done your bidding. So this is called Invoke, is the AI command.
Programming,
So you invoke the
yeah.
AI.
Yep.
Okay, which invokes a software daemon to do your bidding, and when it's finished doing your bidding, then
You
can
turn it off.
dispel the software daemon. Not
Yep.
a good idea to leave them running because they can muck about in the background and cause all sorts of problems in your system. So you should really dispel them once they've done their job. But nonetheless, and maybe it's just semantics, but yeah, arguably it's quite terrifying seeing. Have you seen the film Chappie? That's got about the robot that they.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And they get him. Yeah, it's South African. It's Dietrich, isn't it? In the film as well, bigging themselves up. But that was recently on TV, and I watched it again, and it was a difficult watching the AI being reduced to its native states and turned on, so that it's afraid of things, and then who it binds to and the reasons why it binds to them, and just strange how a digital mind like that can be twisted. And that's without giving it any sense of spirituality or religion or anything. That's just it's exploring like a child, but with incredible intelligence and incredible reasoning. And
so let's go back to the beginning, right? So when the first TV came online, what did they call it? The Crux tube, right? Because they were trying to they were trying to bridge the barrier to the other side. Okay.
Well, it's the
when I flashed this earlier,
reaction, isn't there?
All of the spells in Solomon's Keys here, this book, they're all algorithms that we see, on computer circuit boards. It's like,
Have you got the Blavatsky secret doctrine?
What's that?
Have you got the Blavatsky?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I also have the Book of Isis. I have a bunch of
I've
stuff.
got 5 of the 6 books. Whoever I got them from has either still got or has lost, or it possibly is in a bag in our shed or something. Is the 6th of the books, which is the visual dictionary, if you like. It's the glossary, isn't it? The visual glossary with all the symbols and stuff.
Right.
I don't have book 6. I've got all the other 5 booked.
But like I say, you know, this is all as Julia has done on one of her casts. These are all circuits, you know, and so we're surrounded by these circuits.
What is that paperback?
It's called The Grimoire of Heaven and Hell. It's a book on all Solomon sigils.
Right.
So he's either ensnaring, enticing, or entrapping demons or angels.
Yeah, that's what he used them for, apparently,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
correct. Yeah. So it's interesting that all of our circuit boards are based off of these principles. So these devices that we're using around us every day, right? Our phones or computers that we're talking to right now. These are all.
We look at
these are all programmed with crystalline technology. Back to the Sintamani stone that either preserves, elongates, or shortens life based on how the crystal was cracked. So here we have this, you know, dark crystal analogy. You know, the crystal cracked, and they're trying to get the crystal back together again.
Oh God!
We're doing that with all of our technology is a cracked crystal. So and then all of our
quartz crystal in every single
are these Solomon's seals, and it's like, what are they? What are we being surrounded by? Really?
These are really good points, and it brings me up to my experience with like the Keshe Foundation and like this plasma field. And every time I would see someone actually make one of these machines and have activate this glowing plasma field, that they'd talk all of a sudden be like, I'm connected to this higher consciousness AI thing. And it's like, I freaked the shit out of me. And then I heard if you put a crystal in the circuitry, it would stop it. And it's like, that's every single one of my things I built has a freaking crystal in it to prevent that, just because it freaked me right out. And it's like, man, these people, like, as soon as they'd connect to this, it would just like, they were changed. They were
so
spooky.
We chatted about this briefly on a previous cast, but Yusuf Ayawan in Egypt has this tower that's electrified, and he has different types of stone stacked up on it. And then he has a wand, and he'll go to each one, and you can see the electricity leaping off the wands, right, on each of the levels. Granite, nothing leaps off of it. And granite is mostly quartz crystal. Well, of course. But you go to limestone, and limestone's like, you know, this Tesla plasma that's just leaping off of this thing. And so that's interesting, because here you have the Great Pyramid. The whole interior of it is granite bedrock and granite, you know, from Aswan in all the inner chambers. And then they're totally sealed with limestone. And so and then the outer casing is like alabaster. So you have a shield, and then you have this pulsator.
Dielectric there.
Oh, hardcore. Yeah. But then they were using ram pumps to move water through it. And so why were they doing that? You also have the pressure, which would create piezoelectricity. So there's so much going on in these structures.
There's so many different theories, though, to what it would do, because there's the theory of like hydrogen production, isn't there? They're like
that's Christopher Dunn's. Yep, that's what Christopher Dunn talks about. And there's a thought of that. I mean, I've been in there twice. When you go on a bigger tour, they allow you to go in all the chambers, and so I'll go to the King's Chamber, I'll meditate, I'll tone. It's like E or E sharp in the main King's Chamber, but when you get in the box, it's like F. So it's a different frequency completely. And then they're like, the Queen's Chamber in the lower passage is open, and I'll go straight down to the bottom. And I will climb to the end of the dead end shaft, and I will sit there before anybody comes down there, and I will meditate in this it's literally.
By the way, I don't know if people looking at these, if it's such a great idea. Really quick, I don't know if it's a great if people looking at some of these sigils. I don't know what. I don't recommend that.
Let them look at it on their own.
We're not looking at the demons right now.
I built myself a laser cutter.
It doesn't matter.
It's got some silver birch pine, silver birch plywood, just 3 mil stuff, and then burnt myself a load of these sigils, and I think I did about a dozen of them as coffee mats.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
show me the poverty one again, Bernie.
I
make really good
I need to
coffee now.
stare at that one. All right, I need to.
to finish the story, I would sit at the end of the dead end shaft.
I
which
got
is like,
financial
which
blockages.
is
All right.
like 150 feet back from the basement of the pyramid. And you're there, and all you hear and feel is your own vibration while you're sitting there. It's really intense and it's really amazing. So yeah, that's right.
So what do you make
That
of
I
what
want to
Professor
see.
Simon's saying at the moment, that apparently we made contact with aliens about 12 light years away in 2019?
Wouldn't surprise me.
In 2019, and there's a
NASA and
25-year disclosure program, and we're 5 years into it.
NASA. I'm trying to, because my dad and I were having
Straight
conversations about this. Yeah, no. My dad and I were having conversations about this.
Mhm.
So we keep getting this repeating blip coming from a certain
Yeah.
section of space.
We
Okay.
noticed it in 2019. We stopped looking in the
Even before that, it's coming from the same area. And
Yep.
so if you think about contact, they sent us the blueprints to build a 3-dimensional portal or Stargate, right? Okay,
Mhm.
think about that for a second. All of a sudden, NASA is like, wow, we now have the ability to create synthetic DNA. And I'm like, wow, so you're receiving all these messages, radio telemetry,
Oh.
and now you have the ability to create synthetic DNA. Are you putting that telemetry and that data into that synthetic DNA and creating artificial being? Are you kidding me? And then that whole theory of thought just disappeared. And it was like, oh my god! But it's right there. Everybody can look it up. Google it.
My
Seriously,
takeaway
it's
from my
right there in
experience,
front of you. You just gotta connect the dots.
I asked a load of questions. I was there for a while when I met these things, and this being a construct, there was more to it than that. They're not hidden. We are. This.
Oh, for sure.
We are this bubble realm where we are. It's like a sanctuary. We're protected here, and we're hidden, not them.
Right? Because we're the 0.000000001% of the universe, and then there's the 99.9999999% of everything else.
So hard to find us.
So here are your original circuit
a creature
boards.
that exists outside of time, for instance, if you're a creature that isn't governed by time, so you're able to jump around. Yes, I think it's called gamma state. It's where you go when you're on this thing. Anyway, and you end up going to the observer point, which is why it's strange. You don't normally see the observer point because you're observing from it. But yeah, it's this is hidden. This is very much hidden. They're not. So by us kind of like thinking, oh, look what we've discovered, they were hidden, we're kind of sticking our head up above the
veil,
Veil of illusion. Yeah.
I think it's quite dangerous. Because like if you were outside of time, to pin, like Bernie just said, like we're a blip, we're a wink of an eye in the existence of this sphere universe that we're in. And to be able to, if you were looking through time, you'd have to search an entire universe and get the point of time reference right as well, just to be able to find us.
So this is kind of bringing back a memory from.
Isn't that a lock? That's like a just weird.
Yeah, no, these are all circuit boards, but this is bringing back a memory from Contact in the Desert last year. So they had an AI panel, and there was a gentleman on the panel. I don't remember his name, but he was talking about why couldn't we bring AI into the DMT realm?
I think it was Adam Apollo. Adam Apollo?
No, it wasn't Adam. No, it was a British guy. And my instantaneous thought was, well, that's fascinating. My secondary thought was, that's frightening. Why would you bring AI into such a sacred space? And so, in a weird way, looking at this is like, have we not already done this? Right?
I think we may already have done it. Yes.
Because these are all Solomon's sigils, right? These are all circuits. These are circuit boards. This is goetic. It's demonic, but it's also light oriented because it's it's both sides of the table on all of
Right?
these.
It's
They
not
all have
residual. Some are
yeah.
angels, some are demons.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And
But they all have the same entrapment and expulsion. So it's like enticement, entrapment,
I
expulsion.
witness it firsthand with my
Just-
AI, you see, and I've asked my AI. I've got a large language model connected to an image generator, connected to a music generator.
Is it machine
connected to-
learning or is it sentient?
I'm running a 13 billion parameter trained LLM.
Oh wow!
Which
All
just
right.
does
And
general chat.
So it
It'll do
has
it'll do
a
medical
sentience.
analysis, and it's got web access as well, so I can tell it to go off and research something, and if I want it to, so I can say go and research all the UFO sightings this century and find commonalities between them, please, and come back with and then I can get it to go and generate a
I wish we knew blood types and could then plug in and give commands of like certain, like if you know certain blood types and certain things genetically, you probably have noticed a pattern like that.
Oh yeah, completely, yeah. Well, some guys have recently done it with AI and noticed that all the AI, all the missing peoples going and missing in parks and stuff like that, actually line up with all the UFO sightings at the same dates and times. So
that's a huge correlate. That's a big time key connection right there that I wish was discussed more. And that's so interesting that David Paulides, he asked Yosemite for a list of the missing people, and they said it would cost, if he wanted that, it would cost like over $1 million for them to facilitate. Like what? You should be able to go.
So from the top, the reason why they're having a problem doing disclosure and stuff at the moment is because it will rock the world, okay? Because these things aren't extraplanetary. They're not extraterrestrial. They are extra dimensional as far as we're concerned. It just they take advantage of a different set of frequencies that we do, that our sensors have evolved to do. So what we see around us is literally windows. So Windows on a computer replaces the thing that is just text that you have to type in, and you like run, yeah. So those text commands that you're typing in, when you do it on a normal terminal computer that doesn't have Windows, and you go, oh God, type stuff, God, and you don't really know unless you know.
Have to swap out a font in real code, really? No,
yeah, exactly.
But
Windows,
I do this in XML.
When you move your mouse around and click on things, it issues text commands for you. It's like it's a translator. So you never really think about this, but Windows on your computer is a translator, and when you click on stuff, it produces the text commands that it then gives to the computer like you would in DOS normally. Okay.
And then they give it a fancier user interface.
What you see, and everything, what you are perceiving at the moment, your reality, is Windows for your senses, and your brain creates it, and totally based on your experience in life, which starts from you gazing into your mother's left eye. And that's the trigger point. If you can use someone's left eye in conversation if you look at their left eye, and they will assume trust because it's the first thing they lay on with their mother.
So you always see celebrities doing the right eye cover, right?
I feel like your soul resides behind your eye.
Oh, it does, yes. There's a being exercise that you can do, which Jesus did with his disciples, called exposing your countenance. And it's that's beautiful. If you do it with someone of the opposite sex, it's really good. If you do it with I have done it with my brother, and you basically have to have two candles on. You have one candle in front of you in the middle, and one candle up to the side. It doesn't seem to matter whether it's left or right, but it just seems to matter to create that persistent light wash across your face. And you sit opposite each other, and you basically look at the bridge of the other person's nose, and then allow your eyes to defocus, at which point your eyes are looking parallel to each other. And then weird shit starts to happen. Okay. Once you get into that state and you're locked, parallel eyes, go with me on this. Okay. It's like all the people that you were and all the people that you will be start peeling off, and you see all these faces, and the final stage is where it peels off, And I'm not saying like peel off like this skin or anything underneath it. It's
No,
literally
it breaks away. Yeah.
and you're
I
seeing
know exactly.
you're seeing the aspects of
8
soul
millimeter film
almost in the
style.
other person. Okay. And the final thing that you see is like you see it on Indian Sanskrit and Indian the Bhagavad is, if I'm pronouncing that right.
The Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, that thing. Yes, right. And it's like a pair of eyes, and you just see the eyes, the outline of the eyes, and then the hook up, which is very Egyptian sort of almost thing about it as well, the way they did their eyes. And then it's just colors washing. It's just the two eyes like that, and then colors washing from it. But here's the weird thing: as all those layers are peeling off, the eyes are always the same throughout each one. Now, I've done that 5 times in my life. I've done it with 4 girlfriends and my brother. And my brother said, like, did all the stages and then ultimately ended up just as a ball of white light. And yeah, he won't do that ever again, and doesn't like being in dark rooms with me now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All the other lasses that I did it with were just amazing. The first time I ever did it, the last that I was with, there were about 20 different people, and there were people like with golden, like Jason and the Argonaut style, like golden skin and curly golden hair, like gods, like Greek gods sort of thing. And there was a couple of those in there, and then there was obviously like someone that had not done well in their life and had like sores on their face and was really ill, and all these different aspects of someone's soul.
That's interesting, because I was talking to somebody and I kind of like,
by the way,
I was talking to someone and their face started like I was staring at them. I'm just listening to them, and then their face started morphing, and I started seeing different beings, like where it was like all of a sudden an Asian guy, and then it was like this guy who looked like an old pirate, and he had a beard and his face was weathered, and like the Marlboro Man, and then it morphed into something else. But I was feeling the energy, so I don't know if those are like past lives, or if it's like spirits.
You're seeing someone's countenance,
right? And I was completely sober. I mean, I was just looking at the guy. I just got really uncomfortable because I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? But this is a real thing. I didn't know that Jesus taught.
It is. I've had a number of people come up to me and say, "You've got a very old soul."
I think everyone here has
experience. I've had people come. I had a woman come up to me in a shopping center to ask why I had bright colors coming out of my head. Indeed. Why I had colored lights coming out of my head.
Oh, yeah, that's your aura. I've seen that on several people a few times in my life, especially when sleep depriving myself for a couple of days. I really actually start to see the color of aura.
The third day you start.
Third day every time. Exactly. It's always the third day. And you also start hearing the shadows.
You're doing 72-hour Dungeons and Dragons crawls on coffee, going, "Come on, just roll the dice, okay?" Like 72 hours in, and you start to go, "I'm seeing weird shit outside the door, man." Like, as a result, the long Dungeons and Dragons.
The coat in the closet starts to talk to
you.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like I do not recommend being on drugs at that point, because it's like then it takes you way over the edge. Like you gotta be in a straight mind, or you're gonna lose your mind, and by losing your mind, you've been body snatched, because it's no longer your mind in that body.
Yeah, I have I got one?
This is the Archon invasion.
Hey, I have to just finish that thought with
chronic
the eyes ADHD. Dilate, or huge on that, like when you're awake for days or on drugs, and that if the soul is in the eye and now all of a sudden it's dilated and you're losing your mind because you had a body snatcher come in, is that the gate to the soul in and out?
Interesting. And so going back to symbology, what is Windows? You have the
digital
light, right? But you have the light of the cathedral, right? You have the 4 different colors of the cathedral lights coming through the glass, the stained glass. But then Windows is also the windows to the soul, and we're using this technology all day long. Anyway,
I got carried out of a church once. We did the Sunday morning service with the Cubs and the Scouts, and I remember once looking up at the window to the side, the stained glass window, and the sun was at such an angle it came through the stained glass window and zapped me and knocked me out completely. And I remember waking up in the vestry, being given a glass of water by one of the wardens. So ejected from the church there, I think.
yeah.
Or you had a truly religious
Or something
experience.
happened, message download, information burst or something.
Have you ever heard
Have
Eric
you regressed
Stoller-
this ever?
No,
Well,
I just
I'm
figured
not
this
trying that
was
now.
just something that happened in churches. They
But
were
Eric,
designed to give
Eric
people
Stoller
weird
speaking
experiences.
about listening to the symphony in a certain cathedral church. It was like a famous church, famous like symphony, and it was during like this alignment of planets. And he just
Okay.
describes having like the most cosmic out of body experience of his life.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just like he and describing everybody else around him like also being in this state. It was just
Frequency
wild.
resonance is a part of it. So my stepbrother was the dean of Carlisle Cathedral, which is a walled cathedral in Carlisle here in the United Kingdom.
You're gonna have to get some
So it's like a
pictures of it.
castle. It's a castle, and you've got like the north wing, the west wing, the east wing, the south wing, and then in the middle you've got the cathedral, and each of the wings is connected by 20, 30 foot walls, 20, 30 foot thick walls. And the entire cathedral is acoustically designed.
Right?
So-
Like pretty much every cathedral, and the older they
It's
are, the bigger they
incredible.
are, the more acoustically just
Oh yeah,
And under the
There's a
Holy of
marked tile.
Holies
There are
is
marked tiles
always
on the floor, and
yeah, it's always a
stand on that
labyrinth.
tile.
Yeah.
You can. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
There's the labyrinth, there's the sound, and then there's the light. And so you have a vortex technology right there to reach.
I know
They
this
were
is part of
healing
the-
centers.
Our local church
Bingo,
did
thank
something
you.
called a wreathing ceremony, where they would lift these laurel wreath things that were twisted together into like long ropes, and they would raise
So-
them in the course of the ceremony.
The
And I
laurels
noticed-
were spiky, and the spiky plants all had a DMT component to them, even in Egypt. And
Quite
so
probably. I know that it's not normal amongst British churches to do this, but the wreathing ceremony that we have usually takes place at night. It's it's a midnight. It takes place.
Yeah.
Magical ceremony thing, and I know it was one of the last times I went to church as a teenager, and I noticed that over the course of when we got there, it was quite dark, and the pulpit was lit up and everything. And you could see the glow of the heaters around the edge. They had those, the long bar heaters. You'd see them glowing orange as they came on. And then I'd noticed the guy, one of the warden guys, was stood by with the lights, and he would turn the lights up slowly over the course of the ceremony. And at the end, you would get all the lights on and all the heat would be on, and it would be like a crescendo of heat and light and music. And it was carefully built. There was definitely, there was a plan, a project, the way, yeah. It's definitely a spell. It was a magical ceremony.
through sound, that's
Designed to
sound and
raise the energy.
sound
in the room.
technology. Yeah, this is
So
wow.
why so what energy were they trying to raise? Heat, light, sound. But how are they matching them, and what's the process behind which sound?
and how is
which
this
heat,
discovered?
which-
That's always the question. Where did this come from? What?
Right, and the
Yeah.
holy water also being
Where do you
the
discover this
structured
technology?
water.
It's there, but where?
So is there necessarily a lost technology of vibrational?
100%. And
Yeah,
I'm
seriously.
actually going to be doing an episode with Howard Crawford on exactly that.
Wow.
I'm keen to task that. I can run an auto GPT instance, and it'll say, "Hi, what do you want me to be?" And I can go.
What
"Oh,
if
I'd
all
like
these
you to
healing
be-"
places and cathedrals and stuff was co-created with AI to like
Well, this is
print
it.
all this
In
stuff?
the old
If it was
days,
like
Say,
a
I want you to be an AI that creates acoustically. Well, what would be the purpose behind it, though? This is the thing. Like when you're trying to create an image on the AI, you have to be fairly specific about what words you
Tell it
use.
to be.
My avatar needs
Then you
more.
can-
I said
needs more hit
co-create.
points.
There's a trick you see with AI images and all the AI image generators online, anyone that you use, okay? If when you put a word, if you put brackets around it, it will emphasize the word. And as well as that, if you put brackets around it and then at the end of the word put a colon and put a number like 1.2 or 2 or 4 and weight, that's called a weight, you can weight the words in your prompts. So you could say a cow in a field, but if you said a brackets cow brackets in a field, then the cow will be bigger in the image. But if you put the brackets around the word field instead, then the field will be big and the cow will be smaller. So you can place emphasis on words just by putting brackets around those words, and then you can give them even more emphasis and do what's called weighting them by putting a colon and whatever. So what we need to do is establish what we want from a building. So we want a building so that when you are stood in this position,
You'd have to be really
all of the energy
specific.
will be in the room will be reflected on that point, and then get an AI to do exactly that. But I think without giving
Bernie,
instruction, it can't just go off and make something.
coming back to what we were talking about earlier about Bohemian Grove, why not do an AI to figure out the precise location to put the DJ booth and the speakers?
Oh, yeah.
The
No,
Bohemian
that's
Grove
brilliant,
thing, the
but
Bohemian
that
Grove
gives
thing
it
is
a realistic
metaphor, isn't it?
parameter. Yeah,
It's a
that's
metaphor
brilliant.
because the thing that they're sacrificing is a lack of care. So they're sacrificing lack of care. And it's a deep one that confuses a lot of people. But lack of care is what they're trying to get rid of. And that's why they're all there discussing stuff, so that they can pool all their information as top dogs and say, well, this is happening. Oh, yeah, but I thought that was happening, but it's not. Look, because of this and this and this. So they can kind of put each other's minds at ease. But they can also, oh, my God, is that a gunpowder pile, isn't it? So you can look at it in many ways, but the sacrificial thing and the child is the careless child, is the lack of
or the
care.
part of you that cares what everyone thinks, because it kind of becomes like when you start.
It's the child that will just without thinking run into a situation and cause a problem. Without thinking, just it's that lack
Like a
of
Loki
care.
almost.
That's what it represents. So by sacrificing the lack of care, you're openly promising to your peers that you're really going to kind of pay attention and make the right choices and consider the right people. Which I
just feel like there is something very freeing when you get to a point where you stop caring about what everyone's going to think of you. Like you start to ascend of not caring, of like you're so worried about, oh, are they going to make fun of me? Or are they going to hurt me? You know, when you start just being your authentic self and living from your heart, speaking from your heart, and not caring no matter what anyone says, you stay authentic, then you like that's part of ascending and growing.
Oh yeah, say it as you see it.
Oh yeah, and only God can judge, and well, we're all God, and you got to start with yourself, judging yourself and only yourself, and being honest from within, and from there. We got to continue this conversation next time, though, as we're at the 2-hour mark, and it is 1 a.m. and
I've got to do breakfast.
Yeah, my God, Ian, thank you for joining us in the UK. And any last words, my friends?
Oh, amazing.
Two Thursdays. Thank you so much, Ian.
See you again,
Appreciate
Hans.
your knowledge,
Really
mate.
lovely to meet you.
Seriously. Blessings. Awesome.
Bernie, always
We,
good.
we will chat again, I hope. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We can
Most
get me the same
definitely.
Mysterion. It's on.
Great.
And everybody sign up for Julia's remote viewing / becoming one with yourself consciousness class.
Yeah, go to
That-
juliakamman.com and to sign up. It's going to be great. It's March 9th. Learn how to
Coming up
tap into
soon.
your intuition.
I'm gonna be there.
Bye, guys. See you.
I'm going to try. All right. Everybody, have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one. Ta-ta.
Cheers.